Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Anime Avenue podcast. It's been a while, but we're back. Today, we're going to be talking about the Fall Anime 2018. We're going to be talking about our first impressions. I'm here, as always, with Kid Otaku and Pro Zypher. Say what's up, guys.
Yo, what's up, guys? What's going
Yo,
on? How's
it's
it going?
Black
Today's
Clover
Sunday.
Stand 247 here. I'm ready to talk about the anime and manga greatness. Haven't checked out Black Clover yet though.
Yeah,
or not.
let's get on it. Let's get on it, man. You gotta hop on it. People be sleeping.
So
All right.
we'll jump into how we usually start it and talk about what we've been up to. Zypher, you can go first, buddy.
Okay, so we haven't done a podcast in a minute, and to catch everyone up from what I can remember, I went on vacation a couple weeks ago, and from there I decided, like, since I'm literally gonna be bored to death because it's a family vacation, I caught up on a lot of series. So I'm fully caught up to Doctor Stone, which, by the way, if you're not reading Doctor Stone, get on that. It's actually really really good, and it's going through a huge turning point in the series right now. I caught up to Jujutsu Kaisen, and I caught up to Kingdom, which is obviously, if you don't know, my number one manga ever in manga. So I caught up to those, and now I'm reading Yu-Gi-Oh because people started doing this thing. I don't know if you guys heard of it. It's called the Jump Force Initiative, and essentially any roster or character or series that you haven't checked out that's going to be in Jump Force, you give it a shot. So I've been reading Yu-Gi-Oh recently, and I'm only in the first 20 chapters, which is a really fun read.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like 20 chapters in isn't much in, but you'll get into the greatness soon since you already said you like it and you haven't even got to really anything yet, because I think that like up to chapter 20 only like adapts like a couple of episodes into the anime.
Yeah, so like basically all that's been happening is him explaining the Millennium Puzzle, what like everything. By the way, spoiler, if you haven't watched Yu-Gi-Oh, I doubt there's anyone that hasn't seen Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm one of the few cases.
I don't think
But
you have to
essentially,
say
it's
spoiler alert to something that
yeah,
came out
I
in the
just in
90s.
case.
Yeah, most people grew up with it, so they probably
Yeah,
already seen it.
so it's just basically explaining how like the game works. It's going through like explanation of like how the card game works and like scoring system, life points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what about you, kid? What have you been up to?
I pretty much did the exact same thing Cypher's been doing. I've been branching out a lot more than I usually do instead of just like checking out certain series. I've been checking out a lot more. A manga that I recently finished a week and a half ago, or it could be 2 weeks ago by this point, is Goodnight Punpun, and it's actually a manga that was recommended from a lot of my friends, but um it's considered to be one of the most depressing manga of all time. When I heard that at first, I was like, maybe people are just saying that, just to say, because that's what some people do from time to time, depending on what series it is. They say something to hype it up and everything like that. And then when I started checking it out, and then I got introduced to like all these different themes that the story was touching on and everything that was happening with all the characters and all that, I was like, wow, this is like really taking a turn, and it like really makes you question like life itself, because it pretty much like without including any spoilers, like the whole point of the story is like you follow this kid named Poon Poon, and you pretty much experience and you pretty much are able to see how he grows up and what he goes through, and it's even things that we have to deal with on a regular basis, but it takes like a realistic approach to it, which it makes it really interesting with like all the different themes that it touches on. And I definitely give that manga a 10 out of a 10. It's a masterpiece in my book. I know it's on Zypher's list to check out eventually, but I know how Zypher is when it comes to things that are depressing. He doesn't like touching it ever since the ending of Code Geass. So it's like he'll eventually get around to it, but I definitely recommend it to anybody that's watching this right now. Definitely check out Goodnight Poon Poon. Even Habit, if he ever wants to put it on his list to check out.
Oh, Habit's like the king of depressing series. He loves that shit.
Well, yeah, it's a seinen, so it goes all out and stuff like that. Which
Yo,
seinen
you
tends
mentioned like
to...
overhype and like you saw a lot of people talk about it. Speaking of which, like, and I need to preface this beforehand. I still think Jujutsu Kaisen is good. Like, it's still good. But like, it went below my expectations because people were hyping it up like it's the new best thing in Jump. And
Yeah.
like, so I had those expectations, and I was like, I caught up. It's only 30 chapters so far, and I'm like, so what was the thing that's different? It's just a cool action series. I didn't see any, like, it's good, but like, where's like that whole like this is changing the game of Jump? Like, none of that happened. So it was kind of a letdown in that sort because people were hyping me up like beyond belief. People were saying it was the next big thing, but it really wasn't.
Yeah,
But
honestly,
it's still
that's how
good.
I feel about it too. Like, don't get me wrong, I still like Jujutsu Kaisen. I always look forward whenever the chapters come out because, the thing with the manga now is I feel it because is that it's at like chapter 32 or 33 right now, but it only gets translated by J Minis. So it's like you got to be lucky if they ever decide to like translate a chapter because we don't usually get translations for Jujutsu Kaisen that often, unless in the future it gets um a lot more popular and then they consider translating a lot more because I remember Gemini's actually did a poll not that long ago. And keep in mind, guys, always support the official release. Like if you want to get a Viz subscription, if you want to buy the volumes online, I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, praise the online fan translations or anything like that, but I'm just saying in general, they did put out a poll not that long ago to see what series their fan base likes the most, and they looked at that poll and they started translating The Promised Neverland recently, which is pretty cool and stuff like that because we don't normally get translations for The Promised Neverland until the Viz translation comes out, or if it's on Mondays for a manga stream and everything like that. But like, going back to what you said about Jujutsu Kaisen and stuff like that, like I feel the exact same way as you. Like it's pretty interesting story. Like the whole entire concept and the characters are pretty cool too. But honestly, it's like it's gonna have to do something a little bit more in order for it to really like stand out.
Yeah, it hasn't had its standout moment yet. But I will say this: what's unfortunate about the Viz Jump is they only pick the top 10 most popular series that is in manga right now and put it in their Viz Jump. Versus like the Japan version of Shonen Jump, they have like 50 series in there. And I'm like, yo, why are we only getting the top 10? Like, I get it, like you want to put the most popular in there, but like, there's so many series that they don't even do, and they're just letting like illegal scans. So like, why would someone support it when they could just read more majority of the the series off of an illegal website, but you can't even get them to put it on the official release?
Yeah, honestly. It's I also heard like going back to like Jujutsu Kaisen before we end off this topic, talking about it and stuff, is I actually heard a couple people on Twitter because I tend to go on Twitter sometimes and I look up stuff in the search bar like for example, we're talking about rating. I look up Jujutsu Kaisen, you hear people's opinions on it and everything. I also follow a couple of my friends that happen to be fans of the series as well, and some of them are even saying that like it has a better opening than like My Hero and Black Clover and stuff like that.
See, I disagree with that. Like, I think
Yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen has a very, very solid start.
Yeah.
But I don't think I disagree with the My Hero. I think My Hero's
definitely.
beginning was still get better.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I just feel like it's the hype that gets to people's heads. But yet again, me, you, and Habit and other people as well. Like when you're really invested something, you always have these positive thoughts about stuff. So when people are really enjoying something, they look at things like that.
Oh yeah, they look at things a little bit differently. Like I forget,
Yeah.
I feel like I have a slight bias towards One Piece. You have
That's
a slight
how I
bias
am.
towards My Hero.
Yeah. Like for example, the current arc that's going on, I'm loving everything about it. And then there's some people that like it as much as I do, and then there's some people that are like, "Oh, when is this arc going to be over so we can, progress to the story and focus on something else?" It's just we live in a world that's like full of different opinions and everything, so it's like not everybody's going to agree on the same thing, which is a good thing because you always want to have different opinions on things whenever you have a conversation with somebody or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, so just to wrap up this part, what I've been up to is I finally finished reading Orange. I stopped reading it because I watched the anime instead. Because the manga didn't really catch up, like get very popular until right before the anime came out. So finally got to finish reading that. I finally got around to watching the second season of Seven Deadly Sins. That was pretty sick. I actually really liked that. Did you guys like the second season when you guys watched it?
I never watched it. I just long time ago I read the manga, so I know everything that was in season 2.
Yeah.
So I already know everything that was in season 2, but I haven't I think same kid.
I do. Yeah, like I'm like I think I stopped at like chapter 250 something in the manga, but I do know recently that the Seven Deadly Sins came out on Netflix, and I did recently get a Netflix subscription, so I'm more than likely gonna watch it and see like what happened and stuff, because I still plan to watch it. It's just when it came out originally during the winter season, it was really hard to find.
Yeah, because there's fan subs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the same reasoning why I didn't watch it then. So I kind of honestly forgot about it, even though I really like Seven Deadly Sins. And when it came up on Netflix, literally that day, I just watched it all. It was pretty cool seeing the Lion Sin or whatever.
The Ten Commandments.
Yeah, or the Ten Commandments as well was pretty sick. Just that whole season was pretty awesome compared to like first season or the little the like kind of fixer up type season thing they did. Pretty excited for it going on, I suppose. I mean, I don't really know much about it, to be honest, but other than that,
I think season 3 might be a little bit longer, and they might have one bigger season, because the author confirmed that it's entering its final arc. So it's the series.
I think it actually is.
Yeah,
because
didn't they say it's like end of this year, or like
they said in the summer of next year it's going to be ending, because like based on the things that I'm seeing, and I'm not going to mention anything, of course, because I respect people trying to catch up the series and everything, but based on what I've seen from other people, well, based on what I've heard from other people, and based on things I've seen myself, it definitely looks like the story's heading down that direction, because eventually you get to that point of the story where you have all these big revelations and everything like that, and you have all these plot points wrapped up for certain characters and stuff. That's definitely like the thing that Sins is going through right now.
Yeah. So Rainbow Unicorn in the chat apparently said that Seven Deadly Sins season 3 is not going to be on Netflix apparently. I mean, that would be a good and I guess a bad thing at the same time. I mean, I don't mind it being on Netflix, but I'm not sure. I mean, maybe it won't be on it, but I would think that Netflix would keep it.
I think what he's referring to is like they gave up the rights to it or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Is that what I'm hearing? So like the contract is done or whatever.
That's what it sounds like.
Someone else could pick it up.
I guess, but
Amazon doesn't pick it up.
They just recently picked it up though. So
what?
I mean, Seven Deadly Sins, Netflix recently picked it up.
No, they confirmed like a year ago they're gonna pick up season 2. They do it like a year in advance. I remember making a video on it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I mean like officially them streaming it. It hasn't been that long.
The reason why they did that now is because they had to wait till all the episodes aired in Japan. The season started in January.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, that like season that fixed the first season, that was the thing that they got. The little tiny like season.
That wasn't a fixer. That was.
Are you talking about the OVAs?
Yeah.
That's literally just like a.
Yeah, that's what Netflix did. They labeled it the wrong way, because all that was meant to be was just OVAs, part of the first season, just giving you insight on certain things that happened in the story. But like, I actually went on Netflix the other day and I noticed that they labeled season 2 as season 3.
Yeah.
So that might be. I'm not sure what he's talking about, but if they're giving up the rights to it, then
like
Crunchyroll could possibly pick it up, and a lot more people will be able to like actually check it out. Because
when they picked up the rights, though, is when that OVA like type season thing came out. That's when Netflix picked up the rights. So I mean, it's been pretty recently, so I don't know what kind of contracts they were put in, but again, good and a bad thing. Netflix makes anime come pretty heavily more into the West. But for people that watch seasonal stuff, it's not good. But yeah. Besides that, I also caught up or watched the second season of Dan Machi.
What?
Dan Machi.
Second season of Done Much. He comes out next year. What are you saying?
Or
Are you talking about the
was it the
spinoff?
spinoff? Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't mean second season, but
he can travel in the future.
Yeah, the spinoff for Dan Machi. It was pretty good as well. I mean, I like Dan Machi. It's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's get into talking about the seasonal stuff. So, the first one we're going to talk about, since it's something we all have been keeping up with, it's Radiant. Which one of you want to start off talking about Radiant?
All right. So, as I mentioned many times in most of my reviews, because I am currently reviewing the Radiant series, because I kind of want to branch out and do things a little bit differently besides doing My Hero and Black Clover on Fridays. I kind of want to start, talking about seasonal stuff and everything like that. But Radiant is definitely a series I've been looking forward to for a long time, and I know Zypher is going to talk about it once he speaks his part on and everything. But recently, well, no, this isn't recently. Earlier this year, I happened to be like, in a Discord call of Zypher, and and he happened to go online to see what other series were coming out this year. And he happened to run across this series called Radiant. So he read the synopsis about it and everything, and he looked at a couple of images of it, and we saw like all the characters in the story and everything, and it was said to be an adventure series. So we did a little bit more research on it, and it was also said that the mangaka of Radiant happened to be inspired of One Piece, and pretty much the story itself has One Piece vibes in it, which isn't
the setup is very like One Piece esque, but with like the world and concept of fairy tale.
Yeah, so pretty much in a nutshell, not throwing shots, it's pretty much fairy tale if it's written well. Just being honest here, I love fairy tale. Don't get me wrong, it helped get me into a lot of these series that I'm currently checking out right now, but it had its ups and downs, but we're not here to talk about that. But like I've always been, throughout this entire year, I've just been like really hooked. I've been really invested in Radiant, and then eventually a PV came out, and we saw what studio was adapting Radiant, and I believe it's the
Lesh, the ones that do Assassination Classroom.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Assassination Classroom yet. It is on my list, but I have seen the animation. I have seen the clips of the anime and everything like that, and it looked really cool. And then we saw the PV. It pretty much showed like the whole entire concept of the story, like our main character and his journey of how he wants to go and find the Radiant and everything. Which I'm not gonna really speak spoilers if you guys haven't seen it. I do know a couple people are currently watching Radiant. I know one person in the chat is Rainbow Unicorn. I do talk to you about it on a regular basis, so I do know that you watch it. But I'm really liking Radiant so far. I mean, it's a really nice series to watch like in the morning, because it comes out on Saturdays at like 5:30 in the morning, and usually every single morning, like on a Saturday, I've always watched My Hero season 3, so it's a nice replacement since My Hero Academia season 3 ended, and I have something else to look forward to as well. And I just really like the cast of characters. It has its moments where you have these funny scenes in there as well. And the thing about me is like I've always been invested in like fantasy series and everything like that. So a series like Radiant is definitely up my alley, and I just really like what's currently going on right now. I mean, in the most recent episode, it looks like we officially started our adventure and everything. And Best Girl recently got introduced. So it's gonna be pretty cool to see how things are from this point on, because I've heard that there's like a certain arc in Radiant called Rumble Town. I've heard it from other people. I don't know exactly what happens in it, but I have had a couple people reach out to me and say that once they start adapting Rumble Town and stuff like that, that's when Radiant like really starts to build up, because a lot of people say that the people that have read the Radiant series, because keep in mind this isn't a Japanese series. I should have started out the conversation with that. This is actually a French series written by a French mangaka, and it got so popular in French, it eventually got more attention, and now it has an anime. And I think right after the I think like around the summertime, I know Zypher made a video on it. Um, Viz started translating the volume, so a lot more people can check them out and stuff, which is pretty cool, because you have people that can watch the anime, and then you also have people you can check out the manga. So if they want to read ahead, they can do that as well, and they can see the differences between the anime and manga as well, because I do know that the anime is a little bit different from the manga based on like how it starts off and everything. But personally, I like how the anime is taking that approach on things, because sometimes like when you're watching an anime and everything, they usually adapt things like differently, where they have like more insight on certain things that the manga didn't really focus on too much. And I personally like stuff like that. So it like actually, things are like a lot more interesting, knowing how it's like how it's being explained to us and everything like that. But wrapping up my part, because I don't want to keep going on and on, but I'm definitely enjoying Radiant. Like out of the 4 series that I'm currently watching this season, and I'll eventually check out a couple more as well. Radiant is definitely like in my top 3.
Yeah.
Abby, I mean, you're like the newest to it, so like I guess you could go ahead and.
Okay. I mean, so I didn't really know anything about Radiant besides you guys telling me to watch Radiant when this season came out, so I was kind of going in blind. I mean, I didn't know anything about like it being made by a French writer, or Viz translating it, or anything like that. So, I mean, I was kind of coming into it like not really expecting anything or knowing what to expect, but it's pretty interesting. I mean, I would say it's definitely different in a sense. I mean, I just kind of like the whole concept and the way that the main character kind of differentiates himself from other people by being able to use like magic in his bare hands and stuff is pretty interesting. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to it than it just being as simple as that. And then him having horns, I'm sure is like there's something like to that as well, because like
well, in that sense, none of us know the answers to that, because what like the anime just has adapted so far, like the first 4 or 5 episodes, is essentially all we've read to that point, because the second volume is coming out in November.
Yeah, so we're pretty much going in blind as well.
So all these future episodes, this is to the extent of what we know. In terms of like watching the anime, I've been behind. I'm gonna catch up soon. I haven't started it yet, but I know that all this series, what's been covered so far, I've already like read. So I was just waiting for like the new stuff to start. So I'm gonna just binge it, like the 4 or 5 episodes that are out now, and then I'm gonna.
I mean, I will say this, based on what me and you've read so far, it's a lot different.
Oh, like they changed it up a lot?
Yeah. It's a lot different, but I prefer it this way because, like I said when I was talking about it, it gave us more insight on things, so things stood out a lot more. And you know how anime usually does that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't mind that. Like, if I mean, I'm pretty sure like the author's working together with them.
Yeah, of course.
So he probably gives us things like, oh, flesh this out more. That's fine. Like, they're fleshing things out that could be fleshed out, and like for example, the backstory you said, right? That wasn't really in the. That wasn't really a huge emphasis in the manga, and I guess to get you attached to the character, it was needed, and that's good that they did that in the anime.
Yeah, that's one of the main things you usually see in the beginning as well.
Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, you have to have some sort of connection to it, but I'm sure the manga at some point will, like, get a little bit more in-depth as well, and then you'll probably see more in-depth in the anime going forward as well.
Like, the thing is, like, sometimes I feel like these backstories already happen in the manga, but, like, sometimes what the anime does is rearrange stuff in their own order.
Yeah.
Like, Haba, you've seen My Hero Season 3, right? Like you're caught up.
No.
No. Okay, never mind.
I know what you're referring to. I know what you're referring
Okay, well, actually, I
to.
don't need to really. I don't really need to spoil it, but basically, towards the ending of My Hero Season 3, they rearranged a couple of events, but it flowed better for the anime versus like how it went in the manga. So
Mhm.
sometimes it works itself out.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's pretty much like what they did with this series, but it definitely started off a lot different than what we've read. And like another thing, like I don't want to go into detail with this because this is graphic and I don't want to talk about this sort of stuff on here. But Seth's like well, I would assume what we've seen from Seth so far of his backstory, that's probably not everything. But that whole part where you saw like the kids coming after him and stuff and bullying him, that was a lot different in the manga. It was a lot more graphic.
Yeah, you showed me that. Like, instead of them just, like, beating him up, they were, like, cutting him or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
that's
actually, you know, that actually, like, it's actually kind of ironic because that kind of reminds me of, like, One Piece, because, like, One Piece is, like, the king of censorship.
Yeah.
But, like, just to give an example of, like, how big censorship... No, not... Well, 4 Kids is, like, on some another level. But just to give a minor reference, which isn't a big spoiler, but when, like, for example, when they introduced Bellamy, in the anime, they just like show the like him punch him and then throw him out the window. In the manga, they beat the shit out of the guy, stab his hand with a fork, cover him in cloth, dump alcohol on him, burn him with the cloth on top of him. He's tied up, and then toss him out the window. Like that's how big of a difference that the anime does. Like they do like crazy censorship.
I guess I might as well go into this since we're not really. I just didn't know if I was able to like go into detail of what happened. Okay, so pretty much what happened, now that I have my permission from my elders, is that pretty much what happened is that Seth was in a corner and they were stabbing him with knives.
Yeah.
And then he was tied up in the middle of the village and he was about to get set on fire until Alma came in.
Wait, how old was he again?
I think he was like 5 or 6 or something.
Jesus. Like that. Imagine getting shanked when you're 5, dude. Jesus.
I mean, he was literally like building like a snowman or something, I think, wasn't he? And then like they just like come up, smash a snowman and start like screwing with them. Yeah.
That's messed up.
And they pretty much like had him like tied up like I forgot what they had him tied up on. But it's like almost like he was getting crucified and they're like about to burn him until Alma came in and then she spit in their face.
I wonder if that's like kind of homage to like history of like witches getting burned at the stake and stuff.
It possibly could.
I mean,
well, no, but it is possible because the sorcerers are like hated by the humans. It's kind of like how the pirates are, kind of like how pirates are hated by like the world government in One Piece.
Yeah. There's discrimination in that towards the sorcerers.
Yeah. But dude, I think moving on from Radiant, let's get into everyone's favorite series. You know it, you love it. Sword Art Online. I cannot pronounce that last word for the life of me.
I think it's like alicization.
That.
Alicization. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it's.
Or I like to call it Goblin Slayer too. No, I'm kidding. I mean, okay, so I'll say this: Sword Art Online Part 1, like the first half of Season 1, I liked it. Second half, it was okay. I didn't like Season 2 at all. And then with this season, I'm actually liking a lot. They're addressing and doing a lot of things that like the previous Sword Art Lines just didn't give a shit. Like, oh, ass pulls, let's just go for them. But like they're actually making a cohesive, like well-written series when like the character has a motivation and a reason to just start going insane and like going berserk. There's like he's not only relying on himself, he has others involved. Like, and obviously there's like moments like that, you know, the previous ones, but like it's keeping it consistent now, which I like. And like the only issue I would say that I have with the season is the fact that they literally created Asuna 2.0. She just looks like a younger version of her. I think her name is like Selka.
Yeah.
You remember her name? I think it's Selka, right?
The chick from the fairy one.
No. I'm talking about this season. The girl, Alice's little sister.
Oh,
okay. She literally looks like Asuna 2.0.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, granted, it's not really that surprising that an artist would draw their characters looking pretty similar.
No, like she
Pretty
looks
common.
identical. Like
Yeah.
that's what Asuna would look like if she was like 8.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my thing is, it's gonna be like it's quote unquote slow, if you want to say, because I mean, you talked about it, and I've heard other people talk about it, but it's slow in the sense that it has a lot of like story elements that it's getting to right now, and I mean, clearly, if we're getting story like this now, it's probably going to be pretty story heavy, considering this season is supposed to be 50 episodes, right?
Yeah, but I think what it's doing, I mean, I feel like the more uninteresting things are getting, like the little tiny setup things, like, oh, this is how the durability works, this is how magic works, this is how like these little tiny things work. And like, I think like the fact that episode 2 and 3 like were spent on like cutting a tree, it was kind of like, for me. But then like episode 4 did a really, really good job.
Yeah, but I mean, essentially, the reason why it's like that is because Kirito, they erase his mind, and then he gets dropped into this world, and he's like, what the heck? Because he doesn't know that he's been there before. He doesn't know anything, so he's going in like literally blind.
Yeah, but I think what's gonna happen is that what we saw from episode 4 is that his like both of the repressed memories through like insane events are slowly coming back.
I mean, that's
so they're gonna
that's gonna happen. One thing I do want to talk about is where Kirito gets hurt, because that's like an interesting thing, because so we kind of have the mindset that when he gets hit by the guy from the laughing coffin, he gets back into this. What?
From the first episode, yeah.
Yeah. He gets back into this like dream type world, I guess is what we can call it. But clearly he's actually getting like hurt. Like he feels like what's going on. You know what I mean? Because he even kind of like talks about it. He's like, wow, this is so much different. I remember an SAO getting hurt, and then, you know, it doesn't actually hurt, but he's like genuinely in pain. So it's interesting. I mean, they definitely have a lot of stuff there, and they're definitely correcting things that people didn't like in previous seasons. And I mean, from like hearing what people have to say about this part of Sword Art Online, it's supposed to be really good. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna have a lot more to say about it like far into the series, because right now it's like that slower, like very set up stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it's 50 episodes, so you can't really expect much out of the first 4.
But let's talk about the series that has the best girl of this season. I like to call SSSSSSSSSSSSSSS Gridman. Dude, Habit. I don't know if you're enjoying it as much as I am, bro.
I mean, I love Trigger. Trigger is literally my favorite studio, so yeah, I'm enjoying it as much as you are. I haven't watched the newest episode, but I've just been busy. But the other episodes have been good.
I like this concept. Like, I thought it was gonna end up like oh, there's gonna be this crazy conspiracy theory. No one knows what's going on. Like, it was gonna be an all war. But the way that SSS Gridman is going, and I try to keep this like the spoilers as minor as possible. But essentially, the concept is they're fighting this alien person that's being controlled by another human, and they're fighting them. Like, these good guys, this group of good guys are fighting them, called the Gridman Association or whatever they call themselves. And essentially, they get into this battle, and every single time the battle's over, there's casualties. But after the battle's over, everything looks back to normal. No one even remembers the people that died. So it's like nothing even changed, but people are dying. Once the people are dead, the battle's over. Everything that's been destroyed in the city has been completely like recovered, and people don't even remember the people that died. So it's like this race against this person that they're trying to stop, but each other don't know who the actual person is, but they get into these giant robot fights. So it's honestly really cool. I like how the story's going in that.
I mean, have you seen any other Trigger things? You haven't seen Kisniver. Did you watch Little Witch?
Okay, if I could, let me see. Go through Studio Trigger. Blah, blah, blah.
I've seen parts of Kisniver. I think I saw up to like episode 4 or 5,
Yeah.
but I never finished it. I only saw the first 3 episodes of Little Witch Academia.
Yeah.
Wasn't Studio Trigger do Darling in the Franxx or no?
No.
No.
So.
Okay. Yeah, this was my first Studio Trigger anime.
And that was Cloverworks.
So Trigger, all of their stuff is kind of like this, Zypher. So like, this series is good for Trigger because they have like a trippy kind of art style, and then
it is done by Studio Trigger, but they also got help from Cloverworks.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Cloverworks is the main.
They have a partnership.
Person. I think
something.
think Cloverworks is the main person though, but
Okay.
Trigger, so they have a very trippy like art style, and it works with these like weird series. Like Kisniver is very kind of similar in the sense to Gridman, where it's like kind of like what the hell is going on, in kind of a sense in some cases, and then the art style is just so cool, like kind of like neon and like
Colorful.
yeah. I mean, they definitely have a unique style versus like anything else that I've really seen. That's why I love Kisniver so much, because if anybody else made Kisniver or anybody else made SSS Gridman, it just wouldn't be as good, because
I think people would say the same for Kill la Kill, right? Kill la Kill also has that type of thing.
Yeah, because like you have to like make it like look like the series is, if that makes sense. Like if like Studio Bones or something.
Well, it's all
those,
original. It's all studio original stuff. So like,
yeah,
there's no source material. So this is literally the original material.
Yeah. So it's
it's their own original work. So of course it has to apply to their own original art.
Yeah.
But I'd say my only issue, it's a very minor issue, and I don't know if you noticed this. This is on episode 2 and 3 mostly, where like it's very few times, like 2 or 3 times throughout each episode, the cuts feel so random and just weird. But you're just like, oh, whatever, forget about it.
No, they
like, it just seems really odd.
Yeah,
the transitions are really weird.
Their stuff is like very trippy and very like raw. Like if you're like looking at the stuff, some of the transitions, like you're saying, are pretty like skippy or like cut
like
very weird.
Like they'll be literally doing the most casual thing.
Yeah, and then
it's
cuts
like,
to
time for
something
battle,
else.
And you're like, wait, hold on, what's happening?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like their style is just like out there, trippy, crazy. Like you'll be doing one thing and then all of a sudden, boom, crazy crap's just happening all around you. It's awesome though. I mean, it's what makes Trigger kind of who they are, and it's why I love them so much, because again, their art style is just so different from everything else.
But once again, Rika is best girl this season. Just wanted to let everybody know that. Dude,
all right.
I don't know. Her personality trait is like so hilarious to me. But I think you haven't seen the latest episode, so I can't really say much on it.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Say something. But, I don't know, kid. You want to start off this one, the most controversial series of the
Goblin
season?
Slayer.
I mean, I would say people did overreact, and I will speak part on that. So I'm gonna start out this conversation with Goblin Slayer, and I know this is the anime that a lot of people are watching this season. You can ask your friend, you can ask your brother, your sister, or even your own mother. She's probably watching it too. But
okay, I don't know about that, but
yeah, I know. But pretty much what I mean by that is this is the anime that a lot of people are talking about. Because when we had the fall 2018 lineup for anime come out, people saw Goblin Slayer on there, and they were really curious to check it out. Then the PV came out and everything like that, and then the first episode premiered earlier this month. And
the PV looked nothing like the show.
But it's like when the first episode came out, it was very controversial because wait, can I come out and say it?
Yeah, obviously.
All right. So pretty much there is a scene in there where it's pretty much supposed to show you what the story is supposed to be about. And you pretty much have things like this in a lot of series where they touch on a certain thing, and it's supposed to show us as viewers or readers, if this happens to be a manga you're reading, what you're supposed to suspect in a series like this. And it pretty much had a scene where you had these 4 people go inside of a dungeon, and then they encounter these goblins, obviously, Goblin Slayer, hello. And they end up in a conflict with them. And then you have three of those people, well, two of those people die. One of them got poisoned, so the Goblin Slayer had to kill her. Spoiler warning. Whoops, didn't say it before. And then you have the other guy. He was trying to fight him off, but he brought a long sword inside of a cave, which is a stupid thing to do. And he ended up getting he ended up getting
Screwed.
Yeah, he ended up getting screwed. That's honestly the best way to put it, because pretty much after the tip of his sword like hit the top of the cave, he ended up he just ended up screwing himself over at this point, and I believe he had his arm chopped off. He was all done. Then you had the this other, I know it's not called the goblins, called it something else, the bigger ones.
They're goblins. They're like, I forgot what type of special.
Yeah, the hobgoblin.
Yeah.
So it's the hobgoblin came in, and you had this one girl, which you pretty much like had these different people specialize in different things. You had the one guy that was a knight. You had this one girl that worked with magic, and then you had this other girl that had like her own hand-to-hand combat skills and everything. And she went in to go fight them, and then the hobgoblin comes in. He grabs her leg. He smacks her against the wall. She ends up getting hurt. She ends up getting a broken leg at that point. And then all the goblins, the little ones. Yeah, and then we get into the fun stuff where all the goblins gang up on her, rip her clothes off, and she gets raped.
You
can't. So much emphasis on everything, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and she got raped.
You can't forget the graphic scenes of him digging his nails into those cheeks. And going in,
dude. When they go in and then like they just transition over, and then and then they couldn't obviously show it, but then like at the very end of the scene, they just show her body moving back and forth just to make sure that you weren't sure.
Yeah,
but now you're 100% sure.
And then it's her face, and she's drooling and crying everywhere.
I know, she's pretty much scarred for life at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's realistic.
It'd be a crazy turnaround if like she came back, like if they were in the series.
I know she's alive still because
Oh yeah, we saw her in the carriage.
Yeah, we saw her in the carriage, but she was like petrified.
Yeah, they say they all go to like the church, and then they end up just living their lives as like zombies, kind of, because of not being able to get over it.
Pretty much. I mean, honestly.
But
who could really get over it?
Speaking of the overall series, like moving on from episode 1.
No, actually, I want to touch on this because I even spoke about this in my review. I feel like people are overreacting with that whole scene where you had the girl get raped and everything like that. Because first off, this is a seinen, so you are supposed to suspect things like this to happen in a seinen and everything. And second, you have other series that have done things a lot worse than this. I mean, you have series like Berserk, for example. Keep in mind, I haven't read the series at all, or I haven't watched the anime, but I've heard things about that story, and you have scenes like that in there, and that's a very popular series, and a lot of people love it.
But kid, that's exactly why the anime doesn't adapt well as way as they do. That's why. That's exactly why.
Pretty much what I'm trying to say is I feel like people are overreacting to that because it's kind of like you've seen stuff like this before, but then all of a sudden Goblin Slayer does it, and you start.
Bro, I started laughing on episode 2 because now they added like viewers' discretion is advised at the start.
Yeah, I know. I saw that they posted a tweet out about that.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand it because like
it was kind of a fuck up. It was kind of a fuck up on their end that they didn't have that in the first place.
Because they have done it with other like very gory.
Yeah.
But like, it just found it funny because like things got so controversial that they were forced to do it.
I mean, it's pretty brutal.
And that's like the one thing people know it by, that one scene. But hey, it might as well be known by something instead of nothing at all. But still, I just feel like people just jump to the gun too quickly with that.
No, what the thing is like, okay, so like there's how like I think like the last couple years is like the most amount of fans, like it's the fastest growing like the anime community's ever been in terms of like audience in the West at least. So there's a lot of very politically correct, and I hate saying the word SJW, but like there's a lot of like very like politically correct westernized audience. So every little thing that's like controversial or wrong or morally wrong, they have to speak out on about it. Like the whole stuff. endeavor happened. I'm not gonna get into detail with it, but like the
Oh,
stuff with
don't
the-
even get me started with that. I made it like a 20-minute video.
The whole child abuse thing, and they're like up in arms about it. And I feel like this is gonna happen with any future series that has very like difficult.
That is another
very-
good example.
I mean, I'm trying to think like what is the word? Very touchy topics, and like
Yeah.
everyone's gonna be up in arms about it, and that's. I feel like that's what the goal is now to do really touchy topics because your series will be talked about, hence more viewers.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, you want to say something about it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like a lot of people didn't expect like it to be like this. And
Yeah.
that's the reason why people like freaked out because like, yeah, it's a seinen and stuff, but like within like the first 2 minutes, it's like kind of over. Like they're not showing anything, but it's pretty graphic in the sense that she's literally
Oh yeah.
like drooling all over herself, and the goblins are like drooling all over her body and shit.
Yeah. It's like I understand why people like look at it that way, but it's just like it's like pretty much my own opinion on it.
Yeah. No, I can understand, yeah.
Yeah.
But
like
I
other
didn't
than
expect it.
yeah. But like pretty much what I
But like just seeing it animated was like something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like pretty much what I took from that scene itself is that it's just showing the premises of the story, like what to expect in the future as this series continues on, meaning that there's probably going to be things that these characters go through that it's going to be a lot worse than that one scene.
There's clearly going to be a lot of rape because the sense that the goblins, the way they reproduce is by reproducing with humans. So the only way they can have a goblin is if they take these women out of their villages, rape them, and then have kids with them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that explains the elf in episode 4.
Yeah. So
another thing, I was just now that you brought that up, another thing that one of my subscribers actually told me, I think this was my first impression / episode 1 review of the Goblin Slayer. They said that they left something out and they didn't really go in depth with it in the anime yet. I'm not sure if they're gonna touch on it in the future or anything. But you know that one scene where you see her piss her pants?
Yeah.
Apparently, and this was said in the manga. That they're attracted that they're attracted to female urine.
Yeah.
The goblins.
Yeah. I mean that's not that surprising because they have like a high key sense. I mean that's essentially why they like rub blood on them when they go in, is to mask their scent. But like the goblins, like in that scene when she like pees herself and they start like laughing, is because like they're just like freaks. Like they're like laughing at her and they're like, oh, you're next kind of thing.
Okay, you know what? You know what's actually kind of funny is like they talk about like the things that the goblins are after, and I found it so funny. Like the elf girl, they're attracted to 3 things. They're attracted to women. Okay, the elf is the woman. Children, she looks like a child. And elf, I'm like, well, she's an elf, and I'm like, she's the 3 of the worst combo.
Yeah, look what we recently saw in the beginning of the 4th episode.
Yep.
We saw one of them like hung. I don't know if she was tied up or something. Yeah, she was
chained up. She was chained up. Yeah.
She was chained up, and then that skull
I talked about this. And kid, I talked about this with Habit. But did you have the same thing where like when the girl was like kill him, and then they thought that the Goblin Slayer was gonna go after and to kill her, and then he just kills the goblin, and then like he's like, did you guys think I was gonna kill her or something? I'm like, well, I did.
He's like, I would never do that. I'm just
like
killing
his whole
goblins.
Ever since he went through all that stuff when he was younger, is to kill goblins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he saw his sister literally get raped by goblins.
Yeah, that backstory is brutal.
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much his motive.
But I saw Necros mention like to talk about Run with the Wind next, which is ironically like next on our list. You could start talking about this one.
Yeah. I'll quickly say it just because I've only watched 1 episode of it, unfortunately, but I don't mind you going on about it because it's just something that I'm just watching like casually. So, it reminds me of Prince of Stride, and it's ironic because Prince of Stride had a lot of like kind of like yaoi type vibes, and that's why people dropped it. Literally, like, it's exactly like it almost. So it's kind of ironic, and I did like Prince of Stride. It was good.
I didn't really
so...
get yaoi vibes, and even considering like they're all attracted to women.
Yeah,
so.
no, yeah. But I'm sure it's gonna be pretty good. I mean, I plan on watching it for sure, but again, I'm just watching it like kind of casually, because I kind of feel like it's not gonna be like one of those series to like super like go in and talk about, you know.
But since I'm like the only one caught up, and I'll say a little bit about it. Run with the Wind is like one of the like I feel like it's easily probably going to be my top 5 of the series that is currently running. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's made by the studio obviously that did Haikyuu, so that's why the animation looks very similar. But to say the least about it, or like to say something interesting about it, is what I like is like the difference between Haikyuu is like they put together a team of like talented and like hardworking players, and like the difference in this is like this is about a bunch of kids, well, majority of them, like 8 of them, they've never ran in their life. Well, obviously they've ran, but like they're literally not interested in the sport at all.
Dude,
What?
that reminds me of the first episode, and I was laughing my ass off because so they get that kid, the main character, to come and join this house or whatever, because the guy that's like running this club has this house for the club, and he sees him running and already knows of him previously or whatever. So it's funny when he gets to the house, he gets him to kind of like move in, and then he's like, he drops the ball to everyone, and he's like, yeah, this is the house for the like track club or whatever it was called,
The big race that they're gonna do.
yeah, and everyone's like, wait, what? And then he's like, you guys didn't see the sign? And then it like switches to a scene with the sign, and it's like in big letters the name of the house, and then in tiny letters it says like the high school like running club, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And I was
So
just laughing so hard.
Yeah, so essentially that whole entire cast of characters were
Got
forced
tricked
into this
in.
guy's tricked into doing it. And like what I like is like the next couple episodes you're gonna watch is like him going through each and every individual person
Oh no.
to convince them into doing it, like actually genuinely have motivation and a reason to do it.
That's
And they each find their own reasons, and obviously the guy you'd honestly feel like who'd be the most hesitant, the main guy you're talking about.
Yeah.
And without spoiling too much, he some stuff about his past comes up and someone triggers it, and then now I think by the end of episode 4 I think everyone's basically on board. I think almost everybody, like nearly everybody,
Well, I'll check it out eventually.
is on board with the series. So now the real shit's gonna start beginning, where they start training actually really hard to try making it to these making it to this cup. I think this season's gonna be 23 episodes, so it's gonna be going for a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It should be good. I mean, like I said, I'm definitely going to be watching it. It's just not like on the top of my like priorities, you know, but it was definitely funny. That first episode was actually pretty good. Again, I just find it so funny that these people had been living in the house for as long as they had. And the even funnier part about it is the guy that's like running the club, there was another guy living in the house before he even lived in the house, and that guy didn't even know.
Oh yeah.
That part was the funniest to me. And he's like, wait, you didn't know? You were here before I was.
I think the best part is like the fact that they don't have a choice even because like they're living there for free.
Yeah, but it's just so funny because he's there before he is, and he has no idea, and he's just like, wait, what?
Since when?
And then like the main guy running the club is like, wait, you didn't know the whole time and you were here before I was?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a series that gives me a lot of Haikyuu vibes, but like it's about running. So yeah. I mean, if you're looking for early good sports series that's very few episodes in, so it'll be easy for you to keep up, is like definitely check out Run with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
I think if there's any other series that you guys want to
Yeah.
specifically talk about.
So-
I could talk about JoJo a little bit without spoiling too much.
Yeah, you can go ahead first. So in this part, we're just gonna kind of like summarize kind of like some series that maybe you're just watching or one of us are just watching or something, and then after that we can kind of wrap it up and give our opinions so far. So yeah,
Okay,
you can start.
I know Habit, you haven't started the series at all, and I know Kid, you're still on part 1. You're like a few episodes in, but in terms of like what is the best part, what is enjoyable about each part, I honestly feel like, because I've heard like so many people's opinion, it's honestly to the person. That's what's the beautiful about JoJo, is there'll always be a part that is going to be special to someone else. Like you might not like a part as much, but someone else will. And each one is so different. Each JoJo is so different that it always appeals to someone. And like without going into each of their character too much, part 1 is like a gentleman. Part 2 is like a very charismatic, outgoing person. Part 3 is literally just like that quiet, super badass guy. Part 4 is like the teenager that we were in high schools who would just fuck around and do stupid shit. And then part 5, which is honestly starting to grow as my favorite one, to give you a general idea of what part 5 is about, it literally takes place in Italy, and it's about this guy who wants to infiltrate this big gang that's been taking over Italy and take it over and destroy it from the inside and create his own gang, but like a gang of good people. So it's really awesome, and I heard there's a lot of like crazy like fights that happen in the series. Like apparently like this part has like some of the best fights in JoJo, where like it's literally all out gang wars and shit. So I'm really looking forward to that, because to give you guys an idea of why I love JoJo so much is, like, in my opinion, JoJo in terms of fights has some of the most unique and most creative fights I've ever seen in anime ever. Each one is always so different and so unique that I've never seen in any other anime. Because like most animes we see, like, oh, he's gonna hit him here, he's gonna hit him here, oh, he countered him. But this is like, to give you, like, I'm gonna spoil this fight, but it's a very, very insignificant fight. It's a very minor fight. But just to give you an idea how wild JoJo gets, this guy opens up his nails, okay, Habit? Veins pop out of his nails. He injects them into the guy's body and overheats the guy's blood so he can blow up. Like, it's just like stupid shit like that that gets me so hyped for JoJo, because it's something I've never seen before, and every fight is so different that it gets me so excited. And the thing that wants you to check out more JoJo is like, how's this character gonna be different? How's this part gonna be different? It takes place in a different place. It has a different concept. Like, part 1 is about it's like a prologue. Part 2 is like, it's almost like the setup and connection between part 1 and 3. Part 3 is like taking down Dio. Part 4 is like this slice of life turning into like a murder mystery. Then part 5 is like gangsters in Italy. I can't really give too much about part 5 because I've only read watched the first 4 episodes, so I don't know the full details of it. But man, I'm telling you, man, Habit, you definitely need to give it a shot eventually, because I know you like to joke about it. I know I used to do that like a year ago. I used to like slander JoJo and say, oh, like, oh, it's gay and shit, and like it's weird and it's quirky, it's very spontaneous, it's bizarre, and no pun intended, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But like, you definitely need to check it out, man. It's like, I was pleasantly surprised, and it's like worked its way up into like my top 5 series of all time. And I think one thing that stands out personally to me, it has my favorite OST in all of anime. It stands out so much to me. So like, maybe I'll talk about JoJo a little bit further into the season, because there's not much to say without spoiling it. But
who knows? Maybe Kid'll catch up by the end. Who knows?
Yeah, I could easily say I feel like it's gonna end up becoming my favorite JoJo.
How many episodes is JoJo usually? Like 20-something episodes a season?
No, it's very different. Part 1 is only 9 episodes. Part 2 is 16 episodes. Part 3 is like 50, and part 4 is like 39, and then part 5 just started.
Do you have any idea, or does anybody have any idea
total?
How many? No.
For this up to date.
For this part, how many episodes?
Oh, this part, about 36, I believe. So 3 seasons, 3 cores.
Interesting.
So it's gonna go up until like the summer, towards the end of spring season. So probably until like end of June, maybe going into July a little bit.
But... Interesting. Very interesting. So
are you planning to cut?
I don't know, maybe. The only thing I've been watching that I think you guys haven't is Bloom Into You, which is like so I mean, I still don't know what it's really gonna be like, so essentially it's like this chick who likes shoujo manga, and guys have like
is that the Yuri one?
yeah, so guys have confessed to her in the past, and she like totally had blown them off because in like shoujo manga, the girl like totally falls like head over heels for the guy when like they confess to them and like all that stuff, and she hadn't felt that way. So she joins this like club with like this upperclassman, and the upperclassman is like so much like her, and then all of a sudden they're like in this club room together, and then the upperclassman just goes, "We're so much alike. I think I'm starting to fall for you." And that's like that's the and that's like how the first episode ends off. But like so I've only watched 2 episodes of it, just because I haven't got around to continue to watch it. But it seems like, so the second episode starts up, and the girl that got confessed to doesn't really know what to think because she doesn't feel that way, you know? So I think it's gonna be like funny type thing.
So it's almost like
I don't think it's like
trying to figure out her sexuality.
Yeah,
like
yeah. I don't think it's like gonna actually.
Like
I don't think it's gonna actually be like a Yuri type thing. It's gonna be like this girl like can't say no to this upperclassman, so the upperclassman is like thinking that like she likes her too or something like that is what it seems like it's gonna be like.
Is like the concept is like have you ever seen Maid-sama?
No, I mean I have, but I don't really remember it.
But essentially, it's like the guy finds out about the girl's secret, and the girl has to do whatever the guy asks her to do, and he just does all these romantic shits for her. But like he basically is almost like a romantic bully in a sense, where like he's always doing these romantic things, but he's forcing her into it. But then she ends up liking it, whatever he does.
Yeah.
But like but she has to go with it because of like she doesn't want her secret to go.
Yeah. But I could see it being like that. But even if it turns out to be like kind of, it would only be like Yuri vibes. Like it's definitely not going to be like girls like making out and crap. Like it's very like kind of like a cute like crush type thing, you know? It's not going to be like some creepy type crap. So I don't know. It's interesting, I guess. I mean, I don't really know. I haven't watched the last 2 episodes, so who knows? Could get weird. I mean, I was watching that crap, what is the show called? I mean, it's basically the Joan d'Arc thing. It's like Ulysses or whatever is the...
Isn't that like your favorite of your season? Of the season?
No, so like it looks sick. Like all of the previews looked sick. The first episode was like pretty awesome. Second episode in, I'm watching. So this chick basically like dies, and this guy gives her a philosopher stone thing, and she gets like powers. But get this, the way that she gets her powers, because he takes half of the stone and she takes half of the stone, he like starts drooling for some reason because of the stone, and the way she gets her powers is by sucking the drool out of his mouth. So literally like her tongue is in his mouth, and you hear...
Okay, I feel like we're doing like some kind of ASMR hentai. Let's like move on from that.
But you literally hear like the spit getting sucked out of his mouth. And she gets kind of like turned on by it.
Oh no. What happened? You sure you were watching hentai?
I mean, I genuinely thought I was for a second. Like, I was like, wait, is this hentai? Is this my first one?
Dude, you know what's crazy? There's like, I feel like with this year in specific, there's been shows that have been literally just straight up hentai that somehow pass off as anime and they air in the season. And I'm like it's what it is, it's straight up hentai, but with an actual plot, and it somehow passes off as an anime.
Like that one that we saw when making the time thing for our website. It was like Hotel Capsule or something like that. And literally the the picture, like the cover for the thing, is a girl, and her like skirt is like riding up, and she's laying on a bed, and the guy is on top of her, and they're making out, and that's the cover for the thing.
Oh my god.
All right, let's move on from,
Okay. So, I don't think we've watched anything else, have you guys?
I mean, I've been watching Gintama because I've been trying to keep up. I've been trying to do on top of all those manga and anime. I've been trying to follow a long running series on top of that. So I'm only like
Yeah.
17 episodes, and it's. I mean, I've been enjoying it. I honestly feel like I heard it like the comedy goes on another level in Gintama, like way in, and I'm already like dying of laughter like so early on, and people are like, "Bro, you haven't even got to the shit that's considered like extremely funny." So I'm probably gonna pass out. Rest in peace, future Zypher. You're gonna die from like
Yeah.
not being able to breathe from the no, but like I've actually heard like a lot of people say like the comedy
funny,
in it is
yeah.
like genius.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot of like clips of it and all that stuff. Just haven't got around to actually watching it. But oh, never mind. I was gonna say, Dan of the Dead said that How Not to Summon a Demon Lord is hands down a great anime, and then Grimmin was like, How Not to Watch a Demon Lord is straight garbage, absolutely terrible. Okay, I forgot one thing that I was watching was that like slime one.
I haven't checked that out.
I've heard about it.
Dude, it's literally retarded. So like no, like I think it's gonna be like funny retarded, but literally like this guy like dies, and then he like so essentially he's like working in like an office, and the kid like gets him to like mentor him on like girls, and then like he's like totally like that like pretty boy type guy where he wants everyone to like worship him, but then he dies and he gets reincarnated as literally a slime.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so like he was saying all this stuff that he like wishes he could have, like he wishes he could not hurt, and like wishes all this stuff while he's like dying. So he turns into this like super OP slime where like when he eats stuff, he like takes their like abilities and crap. So he's like eating a bunch of monsters and becoming like this crazy OP thing. But it's just retarded. Like literally the thing is like the start he's just a slime and he's just eating a bunch of like flowers and just going around eating flowers and then going around eating rocks, and then I don't know, it's weird, dude. It's definitely one of those ones that is just supposed to not be serious at all.
You want to talk about like any of the newer like characters that have been added to Jump Force since we last did our podcast?
Yeah, you guys can talk about it. I don't really keep up that much with Jump Force. I mean, I do, but then the stuff kind of just gets lost in my head.
Yeah. So for the most part, there's a lot of series now that are building up that I haven't seen. So I'm doing this personally. You don't necessarily have to, obviously, but there's a lot of characters that are being added to like from series I haven't seen. So I've been adding them all, and I actually genuinely want to read and attempt to read every single series that's gonna be added to this. So far, personally for me, that so far is Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, Saint Seiya. The series that I chose to start with was Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, that's being added, and then the two new series that they got this recently announced this week was Fist of the North Star and City Hunter. Both are very old series. Like they both started in the 80s of Shonen Jump, and I'm gonna probably read the manga for it. You know, I mean, Fist of the North Star is known for its like classic meme, you know, Owairu mo Shinderu, and then City Hunter is I feel like a series that I've never heard anyone ever mention it. I think since it got announced, Roger mentioned it. He said he's seen it and he enjoys it a lot. It's essentially from the reading it about it a little bit is like the concept is this man has literally a one-shot pistol that could literally take out anything with one shot, and he's like this cool badass guy who could get any girl, and it's like this it makes sense if it's like the whole 80s scenario. It would have been one of those series that's a hit. So I'm definitely gonna check out City Hunter eventually too.
Yeah, so it's like essentially kind of like a challenge that a bunch of people are doing and like trying to catch up with everything.
Yeah,
I'm probably
any
gonna look
series that they've
into it.
ever missed out or like they haven't seen that's in Jump Force, everyone's like gonna give it a shot, which is good because like regardless of the series, everyone's getting like every series is getting now new people. Like I've been recently seeing like new people get into One Piece that have never even decided to give it a chance. People getting into Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, etc. The list goes on.
Yeah.
And like so now everybody's getting new, like everyone's getting chance to, and I feel like this is gonna work so well for the game because I can imagine this, right? There's gonna be this game is gonna do really well. I feel like, in my opinion, is because it's marketed to the West, and easily anything that has Dragon Ball does very well. And the
Yeah.
fact that this show is gonna have Dragon Ball
And
and Naruto even too, which is like the two biggest series in the West, this is gonna expose a lot of people to like One Piece, Hunter x Hunter, the series that never been discovered, and it's only gonna help these series that are not popularized in the West grow even more. So I feel like Jump Force is a great game for helping out the community in a sense of like getting new people into series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that challenge as well because when I saw City, that character from
City
get
Hunter,
added. Yeah, I actually added that to my
Plan to Read.
yeah, to my plan to read list because most of the other series I've seen, like I'm up to date with Hunter x Hunter. I'm up to date with One Piece.
You seen Fish
I'm
of the
a-
North Star?
No, I'm not up to that one. We'll look into that though.
Have you seen Saint Seiya?
No.
have, you, have you seen Yu Yu Hakusho though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but there's like I feel like now that they're doing all the series, I feel like people are like, oh, I've seen everything. Okay, maybe not that one. And
Yeah, but
not
most
that
of
one.
them I am. But like a couple series like Saint Seiya, and then you have City Hunter, and what was
Fist
the
of
other one I
North
was
Star.
thinking? Fist of
Fist of the
the
North Star.
Star. I'm not caught up with that. And then when a JoJo character gets added, I'm currently
Yeah, JoJo, you're catching up on right now.
I'm
so.
currently catching up to it right now. But yeah, I'm more than likely going to be doing the exact same thing.
My
I'm
list is
actually-
only gonna grow because they're gonna add Rurouni Kenshin. Then they're gonna probably
Yeah.
like eventually maybe add Shaman King, and then they're gonna add like a couple of newer series like My
I
Hero Academia,
honestly
which we will
might
see.
look at like I might actually go online later and look at other weekly shonen series that came out in the past just to get.
I actually did that recently, but like again, I don't know what the standout ones are because like when you find you're gonna find a lot of them
Yeah.
that you've never even heard of. Like for example, I noticed City Hunter, but I didn't think any of it because no one ever talked about it. But now that it's being added to Jump Force, I'm gonna give that series a shot. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have like the same issue. Like you're gonna see a lot of these series because the covers look all old and look generic, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't really stand out. But then when you see them announced for Jump Force, you're like, okay, I'll give that shit.
They're like series that got kind of like lost in the past in a sense, kind of like Fist of the North Star and like Saint Seiya haven't been like even relevant at all in the West for like
Actually,
quite a long time.
Yeah, what's kind of funny is that Saint Seiya is like the biggest series in Brazil, even up to this date.
It's very
It's like
big
one of
in, it's very big in Europe because they get a lot of like the video games and stuff. Like even
Yeah.
Japan doesn't get some of the Saint Seiya video games, and you can import them from Europe.
So Necros mentioned something in the chat. He said that Shaman King is now Kodansha. Would
Yeah.
that stop it? Even so, like it probably will, right? Shaman King's probably not gonna.
I
close.
really don't know. To be
I
completely
don't know
honest with you.
personally.
So, because if that's the case, then I'm worried about Gintama ending up in the game because Gintama's manga just ended in Weekly Shonen Jump,
I
but it's-
feel like
but it's doing its final arc in a different magazine. So, does
I
that
feel
mean
like-
it's?
I don't think it's the same case because that recently happened, and I'm pretty sure this game has been in development for a while, and I'm pretty sure.
Well,
until-
Shaman King, Shaman King just happened last
No.
year.
Oh,
Like the rights to Shaman King by Kodansha happened in December 2017.
I mean, I wonder like how that applies. Like, I mean, I don't
it all
know.
depends, really. I mean,
But I
if
feel like
this
since
game's been
since the IP was owned originally by, I feel like if they just communicated, it shouldn't be an issue.
no,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be an issue because I feel like if this game's been in development for a while, which it has been, I would assume there really wouldn't be any issues of having the characters in the game because
they
I'm
would
pretty
give them
sure they were one
promo.
of the. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure those characters were already planned to be in the game anyway.
Yeah. So what do you guys think, just to like kind of like wrap up the whole like seasonal talk, is what is your opinions of this like season, like kind of overall? Do you think it's like
Overall,
a
I think
standout one for this year, like a decent
uh,
one for this year? What do you think?
it's easily. I think a lot. Most would agree is probably it's easily the best season. Obviously, I feel like each season had its
Yeah.
standout anime. Like in the winter, it was Darling in the Franxx. In the spring, it was My Hero. In the summer, it was Attack on Titan. But this season in particular has so many great shows that I think everyone will agree, or for the most part, that this has the most quantity of quality series. Like each series had a good quality series, but this one has the most of them, and
Yeah.
easily the one that stand out.
I'd
But I
say
wanted to
that
quick.
winter was like kind of close behind it, but all the other ones like kind of only had like a couple things, you know.
Yeah, they only had a few standout ones. But speaking of standout seasons, Habit, I don't know if you've heard about this. I wanted to quickly mention. We'll talk about it when in detail more when we get a lot closer to this. But this is what's been confirmed for spring 2019 so far. All right, Habit, you ready?
Winter
My
is
Hero
supposed to be
Academia
good
season.
too.
No, but here, get this. This is gonna be the craziest lineup. So JoJo's gonna obviously continue into the summer, or sorry, the spring of 2019. One Punch Man,
Yeah.
My Hero Academia,
Attack on Titan.
Kimetsu no Yaiba, Attack on Titan, and there's rumors of possibly Vinland Saga being in there too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a
It is-
crazy spring season.
It is. I just hope it's spaced out. Attack on Titan has always been on Sundays, so I hope they keep it to the Sundays. My Hero's always been on Saturdays. Hopefully, it stays on Saturdays. JoJo's on Fridays. My only wish is One Punch Man was on Sundays before. I hope somehow they push it to Mondays, and then my week is set, bro. Everything's split up. Thursdays I got my manga, and then Friday JoJo, Saturday My Hero, Sunday Attack on Titan, and then Monday One Punch Man. It'd be perfect for me.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, this season is probably the best out of this year. Just because I feel like I've been out of the loop a lot with seasonal stuff, just because not a lot of like stuff that like is actually genuinely good has like come out. But like just like talking now, there's 5 things that like probably all 3 of us agree are at least like pretty good, like above average, and
or easily above average.
And 5 things just in general, and that's just the stuff that we like know about or that we all have seen, you know.
Yeah,
and the crazy thing is like this is gonna be continuing. I feel like for the next year going into 2019. Like there's a lot of good anime being announced, and Habit, I don't know if you heard about this here. There's rumors that in December, which is Jump Festa, Haikyuu is supposed to be announced season 4 for 2019. So like 2019 is gonna be a crazy year for anime.
It's gonna be
we even said it this year.
Yeah.
And if they announce Doctor Stone on top of that too, bro, it's a wrap, bro. 2019 is going in the books.
Yeah. But I think altogether, like, honestly, the start of this season has been pretty, like, good. Like, all of the stuff we talked about is pretty solid, even just the 3 episodes, 4 episodes in. So I'm really looking forward to it. We're definitely going to have to sit back down towards, like, the 6, 7 episode and maybe talk about the halfway and then talk about, like, the ending of the season.
I do know.
The funny thing is, like, a lot of these shows are like Radiant continuing into the next season, JoJo continuing into the next season, Run with the Wind continuing into the next season, Sword Art continuing into the next season. So like a lot of these series are gonna be like continuing past the season even.
Yeah.
I think the only 2 shows I can think of right now on top of my head that are staying in the season is Goblin Slayer and SSS.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because Goblin Slayer is like 12 or 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another other series I forgot to mention earlier when you guys were talking about the series that you were watching, Hinimaru Zumo. I'm currently watching that, but I'm probably gonna read the manga because I've heard that series jumped around and adapted things like different, like they skipped ahead or whatever. But like people that watch anime aren't gonna really know that. But
wait, hold on. Didn't you say that Gridman and Goblin Slayer, or Gridman and Sword Art were going to be the only ones that are ending. I mean, not
No, I
are
said
continuing. Radiant is
I said
21.
no. I mentioned Radiant's gonna be going into the next
Oh,
season.
sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't hear. Yeah, I wasn't sure how long Radiant was going to be, but
Yeah.
that should be interesting.
But like, to just say what other series I'm reading, because I forgot to mention that earlier. Is other series that we didn't talk about is Hinimaru Zumo. I'm watching that, and I'm also watching the final season of Fairy Tail.
For those asking of why we're not talking about Bunny Girl, there's not much to say about it without spoiling it. It's a good romantic series that does a lot of trippy things.
Yeah,
It has
I
kind
still
of
have to check that out too.
original concept on it.
Yeah, I've never.
But
seen
like,
that.
if I try to say anything, it'll be spoiling it. So I'm not speaking on it. It's a good romance. It's probably the best romance series of this season. So
Oh
if
yeah,
you're looking for a good romance.
I still haven't watched that circus thing that Necros had just.
Oh yeah, I have to too. I
Yeah.
haven't seen.
Yeah, it was actually on my list. I don't even know where to
Yeah.
find it.
It's Amazon, I think.
Oh, okay, then I can probably watch it.
Dude, now you got me worried, Habit, because Promise Neverland is being done by Amazon, or apparently.
Yeah, so is Vinland Saga. No, I'm just kidding.
But the circus stuff has been coming out on other sites regularly, and Amazon has been putting them out like on time and stuff apparently. So Amazon has apparently been doing a good job so far this season of putting stuff out like timely. So not sure if it's really going to be a problem for you, especially because you have Amazon Prime, don't you? I think.
Yeah, I do.
Hold on, I'm trying to go.
I have it because
I know I have it, but I want to know if like is anime even on my shit to be able to watch in the Canadian version.
It's just in general. I mean, like, look. So people give Amazon like crap and stuff, but honestly, Amazon getting into anime is a good thing because of like how big they are compared to like a Crunchyroll or like what's that one thing like High Dive picks stuff up. I have no idea what High Dive even is.
It just recently launched.
Yeah,
it's essentially like another version of it's a new coming.
I would say that would be worse than Amazon picking stuff up because at least Amazon is like established, you know. So
no, I no, it still wouldn't because a lot of people have Verb, and High Dive basically replaced Funimation in Verb.
Wait, what is Amazon?
No. High Dive replaced Funimation on Verb.
Oh yeah, because the partnership ended. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks.
I mean, I don't know. All I gotta say is that if we give Amazon still a little bit of a chance, because granted they're still pretty new into picking up anime, that they'll get better. I mean, they have their own TV shows that they're streaming and this stuff, and apparently it's been running pretty good lately. So
okay, going through a couple of the comments. Watch Black Clover anime? No, I hear like literally every single day someone complaining about how shit the anime is. I heard everyone say manga is good. I'll read the manga one day. Definitely staying away from the anime. All I hear is complaints about how bad the anime is for Black Clover. Amazon Go sucks. Yeah, everybody knows that. Do any of you watch Golden Kamuy? I haven't been watching.
I do.
You watched the second? You're watching the second season?
Yeah, currently watching the second season. Really enjoying it. A lot of people should hop on it instead of worrying about that one episode.
I plan on watching it.
Yeah, because all people talk about is the CGI bear, but that's not what the story is about. Like, it touches on a lot of things, and it's a really interesting story.
You know, it's kind of funny. Necros mentions that like supporting anime legally is hard when there's like 30 services. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, give half your paycheck to like all these services? Like, all right, $10 to High Dive, $10 to Verve, then I'll give like $10 to Funimation, and then $10 to Amazon.
Again, that's why it's kind of good if Amazon gets a little bit more feet into the door. Then the people that will be monopolizing it would be Amazon and Crunchyroll, so you won't have to worry about other stuff.
It works out for me if like Amazon could get their shit together, right? And like put out consistent anime. My only problem is like those animes like the only issue is, right, Habit, is people don't really go to Amazon for anime, and I don't know if they'll ever get established. But like
Yeah.
no one in like the community is talking about Karakuri Circus.
Yeah,
No one.
but my
That's
thing is
you-
that
That's it.
it could work because look at how many people in the US have an Amazon account, and it can be a
Mhm.
good thing for anime in the West if like YouTubers and stuff can start watching it on
Yeah,
like
but
Amazon and
but at
stuff.
the same time, like yeah, but like most of the anime watchers don't pay for shit. They use everything illegally. They're all broke boys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's still good. It still
I
goes
used to
down
be
to
one
the
of those
fact that
people.
they're gonna do that regardless, even if Crunchyroll was the only thing streaming it or something.
Yeah.
No, because
But-
because when Crunchyroll does it, it's easy for these websites to pirate it. Because I don't know how they work around it, but like Amazon would like literally like fuck you up the ass if you try to steal them from them. So no one even bothers trying to steal from Amazon.
Well, I don't know, all this stuff that's streaming on Amazon this season, it's been coming out on every other site like at the same
Yeah, but
time.
it's a lot like it's rare though. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but that's just because it's new, you know. I mean, now it's starting to get into like the rhythm of being able to.
But then again,
put
they haven't
stuff
really
out and-
picked up a massive series, which Promised Neverland is gonna be. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Necros said I'd be happy if Netflix and Amazon both had wide varieties. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but if you mean like genre-wise or like
No,
what
no,
it's
no. I
picking
think he
up,
means just
or-
like a big catalog. I think is what he means.
yeah. I don't know if he's
Because-
specifically
Yeah,
talking
I was
just
actually
anime,
because my
but
sister uses Netflix and she was asking for a good anime to watch, and I was scrolling through that shit. That shit is garbage. Like they hardly have like they have a few good anime, but
I
it's
don't
very
know.
minimal.
I don't know if is Canadian Netflix different than American? Oh,
Yeah.
because the American and the European. What I'm jealous of is so Travis, he has Netflix and he's from the UK, and like they have like Sword Art Online, like they can air it like seasonally. So like they're actually getting it like episode by episode, which is awesome, but I keep accidentally almost pulling up previews for shows, but like we have like Seven Deadly Sins and like Sword Art and Fairy Tail, Full Metal, One Punch Man. Like we have so many good things on American
Oh no, we have all those bigger
Netflix.
series, but like when it starts go looking for like other animes, like it's very limited. They probably have like
Wait, when
40
One Punch Man first came out, who had it?
Netflix. I mean, why'd I say Netflix? Crunchyroll.
Oh, okay.
It was Crunchyroll and Funimation. But Netflix has been picking up like some decent stuff seasonally. I mean, they got Seven Deadly Sins this year. They have Sword Art Online. They have I was just thinking of something and it just totally popped out of my head. Violet Evergarden. They have a lot of good stuff that they've been picking up seasonally, but again, it's a
Yeah.
good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
You don't get that seasonal
And
watch
by the
unless
way,
you're in the UK.
I don't think it was Crunchyroll that got One Punch Man.
I'm pretty sure it was because Funimation did the dub for it.
No, One Punch Man's not on Crunchyroll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think I remember what was it? This website on 2015. It was like Daisuki or something with the website that shut down now. They had it. It was called Daisuki. I remember that now.
Was it
And-
that or was it what's the they like sponsor a bunch of YouTubers and stuff like anime
Viz
YouTubers.
Media is what they have now. Well, that's the current licensors.
Interesting.
okay.
Viz Media, and Viz Media is a pretty good like licensors for anime. They do JoJo, Hunter x Hunter, Death Note, Monster. They've done a lot of big series.
Yeah.
Inuyasha.
So again, the whole thing with like Amazon and stuff is hopefully Amazon can pick up more stuff so they get better at streaming, and it eliminates smaller things from being able to pick as much stuff up. So then there's not like 50,000 sites that you have to pay for. I mean, realistically, if it's just Crunchyroll and Amazon, like, that's okay. You know what I mean?
But I think we're still in the early stages of like anime finally starting to blow up in the West. Like I feel like it's what gaming was like 10, 15 years ago. So like a decade from now, when like shit really, really goes mainstream, in terms of like West, that's when we'll start seeing consistency and like popularization wouldn't even matter which like licensor gets it or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, anime streaming is still, like, kind of in its infancy towards a certain line, because, I mean, you're still seeing, like, sites come up and actually
I'd
being able
say,
to put their foot in the door and being able
yeah,
to stay in the door.
I feel like right now it's like teenage phase right now. Like it's like your pre-teen, because infancy I would consider like I remember first time hearing about Crunchyroll, they straight up had like an egg as their logo. It was weird,
Yeah.
and it was like long, long time ago. This was like
Well,
6, 7 years ago.
I would still say, like, that's pretty infant considering, like, streaming, like, movies and stuff. I mean, look at how long ago that
The
stuff
reason why I
started with, like,
the reason why I don't call it
Blockbuster.
infant is like the fact that it surpassed 1 million monthly subscribers, which in that in that's in the West.
No, I
That's
mean, like,
pretty-
overall, like, streaming, like, in streaming terms, like, how long anime has been streamed on the internet versus, like, movies and stuff. Like, anime hasn't started streaming in the West, like, as long as, like, movies and stuff has been streamed in the West. Because, like, look at the way that, like, movie
When
streaming...
you say movies, you're talking about like anime movies or just movies in general?
No, like Western movies, like blockbuster movies and, like, all of that stuff. Like, look at how long ago it's been since Blockbuster went out of business, and then Netflix came into the scene, solidified its thing, and nothing else can kind of compete.
Okay, so Netflix.
Anime hasn't
when did
hit that.
when did Netflix really like blow up? I feel like that was like in
2000 and
2012.
No, like, they started in 2005 or 6.
No. They start like
And
the company
then-
started in 1998. But what I'm saying,
Their streaming
is-
service is what I'm referring to. Started in,
Yeah.
like, 2006, and then
Yeah, I'm
started
talking
gaining
about when it, like-
traction in, like, 2008 to 2010. And
no,
then,
I feel like that's when it started like getting popular. What I mean is like actually like people are like this is the go-to service, and I think that was like 2011, 2012.
well, they killed out Blockbuster in early 2000s, like mid to
No.
early 2000.
Blockbuster closed.
Dude.
Blockbuster closed in 2013, dude.
Yeah,
Like
but
when they started. Well, that's when they started closing all those. Yeah, so it was like 2011,
that's
2012
when everything.
when Netflix started taking over.
That's when everything closed, though. But it had been
Yeah.
a thing where Netflix came up and they did streaming, and then Blockbuster was like, "Oh crap, why didn't we do this before?
But
We're starting to
they-
die out because of this." And then they tried
yeah,
doing
but
it,
even then,
and then they
Netflix
stomped
just-
it out.
Yeah. So we're like in the very like this is like in terms of like when YouTube was first born, this is like the start
Yeah.
of like streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's still not evolved, is why I say it's still in its infancy, because, I mean,
Oh yeah.
just in the past, like, 2 years,
I mean
there's
Netflix
been, like,
in terms
4 or
of profit,
5
they're still in
things.
the negatives, but they're working their way up.
Yeah, I believe they did hit positives.
No.
Towards the
I'm
mid of
looking
this
at
year.
it now and I think it's still negative.
I believe it was mid this year
Wait.
is when they became positive because of their Netflix original stuff that they started to do. The whole, like, thing with it is they're always kind of gonna be like that, but they're so solidified that it's kind of like fine. Like, they can pull out the loans, they can pull out the money, and then they make it back eventually. So you're not really gonna see, like, Netflix have that kind of decline like Blockbuster did, because the media totally shifted. Like, nobody wanted to go to the
Oh no,
store.
okay. I mean, yeah, this the whole like I mean that not even just like that, like everything. Like when it comes to like even Amazon, like 30 to 40% of like Christmas shopping is done through Amazon now.
Dude,
Like
it was
Pretty
something.
much. They even have sales for that too.
Dude, there was
like
a
everything's just shifting
statistic.
to online.
There
Like,
was a
everybody wants to just stay home and get shit done.
Dude, there was a statistic that Amazon had like 60 something % of all together sales on the internet. they owned 60% of what had been sold, like, just in general on the internet, which is absolutely insane. And then, I mean, going towards that line, that's the whole reason why we saw, like, Toys R Us kind of die out, because they had profit margins that they expected in Christmas. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like 100 something, like in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and they strike something like 20 million or something.
We're getting a little off topic, but speaking of Amazon, the one thing I didn't like that they did, because I loved that they did this, and I always would buy it from Amazon if I had the chance, is they did give you, at least in Canada, I think it's a little bit different, smaller difference because it's US dollars, but it would always get on pre-orders, you would have a $20 discount. So we would get like in 80 Canadian, which is 60 US, we would get it for 60 Canadian, which is like 45 US. So we had to get brand new games as they launch for 45 US essentially. And it was like, there was like no reason not to use Prime for buying video games. And a
lot of places did that before. Best Buy did that before.
Best Buy didn't really do that here.
So I mean, I can't speak for Canada, but they had like a Best Buy Gamers program or something that they had, and when you paid for like the yearly service, you got discounts on games, including pre-orders and stuff. So
yeah, now what they turned it into is that you get $10 credit every single time you buy a game now.
Interesting.
So
I don't think US has that.
So essentially, after like 6 or 7 games purchases, you would be able to buy a game.
Yeah, I don't think US Amazon has that, or ever did. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Then again, I don't really buy many games on Amazon. Usually
it's either Steam or like PS4 digital.
Yeah. Like, even when I was buying, like, physical games, it's usually just going to GameStop because literally it's right down the road from me.
Yeah, what Dan said is, like, I've been wanting this to happen, but Netflix, like, just doesn't listen. So many people have been saying it. If Netflix got the rights to One Piece, One Piece could actually blow up.
It's probably the whole, like, money side of it. So Hulu
no. Actually, there actually is a chance, because I remember just like recently, like maybe like end of last year or maybe the beginning of this year, Netflix Japan got the rights to One Piece.
Yeah, so the issue with it is Hulu in America has a partnership with Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll has the rights to stream One Piece, and One Piece is also streamed on Hulu. Hulu and Netflix are competitors, so it's the reason why they both can't.
One Piece is on Hulu?
Yeah, because it's on Crunchyroll and Hulu.
Piece of shit. No one uses that.
Well, Hulu.
Well, at least for that demographic.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I had Hulu for a while because. So the reason why Hulu was good is because Hulu costs almost the same as it costs to have Crunchyroll, but you have TV shows as well. And Hulu had Funimation stuff, and they had something else. I can't remember what it was, but they had partnerships with Crunchyroll, Funimation, and another anime site. I actually found
something interesting. In January 2019, they didn't renew their license, so One Piece is not... Hulu doesn't have One Piece anymore since 2018.
I'm pretty sure it's still...
I just searched... No, I just looked up. I'm seeing a bunch of Reddit posts that like Hulu doesn't have it anymore.
I didn't even end my membership until around April, and One Piece was still on there.
I mean, I think that makes sense how Netflix was able to acquire One Piece, but only for Japan right now, because that was in February that just happened. That Netflix got it for Japan. So maybe within the next couple of years, we could see One Piece come over to America, which would be massive.
But like the thing is, the reason why One Piece is on Hulu is because it's on Crunchyroll. That's the only reason. So, I mean, if for some reason Crunchyroll lost One Piece, then maybe it comes up to them being able to get it, but I don't know. I don't really see Netflix getting One Piece because, again, the Western audience just really honestly isn't as big for One Piece as it is overseas, you know?
No,
Yeah.
but like to put it into perspective,
Retrospect.
Hunter x Hunter wasn't big at all. But what got it so popular in the West was the Netflix
Yeah,
anime.
but it was also cheap for them to get it compared to how much money they would
Wait,
have to
so
spend to
Hunter
get
x Hunter,
One
how did
Piece.
they do it with Hunter x Hunter? Because Hunter x Hunter is both on Crunchyroll and on Netflix,
Hmm.
so it's definitely possible.
Don't know. I mean, Hunter x Hunter isn't on Netflix anymore, though.
It is. I'm pretty sure it is.
It's
Someone in
not.
chat, check.
I'll look it up right now. Hold on.
I'm pretty positive it's not anymore.
Dude, I think you can turn this into fall anime 2018 and
And
anime
Netflix.
streaming services, like a streaming services discussion. Like we did a whole segment on that shit.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of just like going free on this, but
Nope.
yeah.
It's not. Oh,
Nope.
okay.
I'm not even sure if it ever was, to be quite honest with you. I mean, maybe it was, but I think we're probably at a point where we can wrap this up. I don't know if you guys have any other kind of opinions on this season or opinions on the whole streaming fiasco that we're
The
having.
only thing I can really say about that is since the partnership between Crunchyroll and Funimation is ending, there's only so much I can do with my Verve account now. But I also
Yeah.
use it for like other things it has on there because it doesn't just
Like
have
the Western
Crunchyroll and
cartoons.
Funimation on there. Yeah, it has like cartoons and stuff on there as well. Like they recently
Yeah.
added Nickelodeon cartoons on there and stuff. So
Yeah.
Here's
there's
what I
still
want to
other
end it off with.
things.
Here's what I want to end it off with. If you guys had to pick your favorite airing anime this season, which one would it be?
Out of all the ones that I'm
Yeah.
watching, let me look at my list real quick.
I'd say SAO. Because I know
SAO.
it's just going to get better, you know?
Yeah.
Radiant would probably be my close second, though. Well, no.
I'd probably have to say
say
Radiant.
Gridman.
Yeah, I'd probably have to say Radiant.
Mine would be somewhere close to with like Gridman or JoJo.
If I was caught up to JoJo, then JoJo probably would be my.
Dude, like the stuff that they're doing with like
No,
the
don't get me
series-
wrong. I know it's a lot of crazy stuff happens, and I know I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah. Do you think I should talk about the next giveaway that we're gonna be doing, Zypher? Just for a sneak peek before I make the official
Yes.
video.
No.
Sneak peek.
No, I'm kidding. Go for it.
Okay,
Sneak
so
peek.
we announced the giveaway winners for our Overwatch thing. If you haven't seen that, you can check out the pinned tweet on our Twitter. But our next giveaway, we're going to be giving away, isn't it a year subscription, right?
Yeah, yeah.
A year subscription for the Viz manga stuff. So isn't it just Shonen Jump?
Also, I guess we need to preface this because Viz is not available, but it's to like every country. But like, if you live in like the major countries, Necros, can you please tell us if Viz is available in Australia? But I know it's available in Canada and the America, obviously, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's available in England also. So
Yeah,
all
it
of like
is.
major countries, it should be available. I'm not sure about Australia, which Necros will clarify us in a second. But it is a year subscription to the official digital Shonen Jump.
Yeah, so we felt like that'd be a good thing to give away just because we've given away 2 games previously. So if you have any suggestions as well that you would want to see us like give away for future
Subway
ones.
gift cards.
Oh no.
Help promote healthy eating.
A $10 gift card at Walmart.
Yeah, we're going to continue giving stuff away. Maybe in the future we'll have ones with multiple giveaways, maybe like
Okay, so
Crunchyroll subscriptions or something.
Yeah, so Necros confirmed it is available in other countries. Now that I
Okay.
think about it, I feel like it's very, very minor countries, like third world countries that don't have it, but for the most part, it
Okay.
is.
Well, yeah. So the video will probably go up, I don't know, tomorrow or Tuesday, and the Gleam link will be in there. We're going to be giving away a 1-year subscription for the Viz Media Shonen Jump magazine thing. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, I think that about wraps it up. This podcast will be up on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify within probably 24 to 48 hours. So if you're just now tuning in and you're interested in listening all the way through with just the audio, that'll be up. But yeah, I guess that wraps it up, guys. So see ya.
Peace out.
Plus Ultra.